Thanks for staying with us. And if you're just joining, this is still your favorite weekend show on Signature TV, New Day. Welcome to our newspaper headlines and review. First up, on Saturday, Independent, above the mast, analysts express worries over Bayo Adelabu's trail of broken promises. Afenifere condemns alleged plot to truncate Tinubu's second-term ambition. Below the mast, while Ajokuta still has failed to take off 40 years later, with riders over 6 billion naira budgeted as salaries to non-existing staff in 2025, coming from an investigation. Plant Nigeria's unfulfilled industrial dream, say experts. Privatized steel firm now, says investor. Moving on. Cholera, Nigeria records 34 deaths, 1,307 suspected cases. With riders, threat looms as rainy season nears, and NCDC warns of high-risk communities. Death by hanging, Lagosians react to BRT driver's court sentence in Bamishe Ayawole case. We found no terrorism weapons on the Kano, DSS witness tells court. On entertainment, why I believe God is real, coming from Davido. Rivers women reject Remi Tinubu's empowerment, with rider demand Fubara's reinstatement. And finally, on Saturday, Independent, MRA sounds alarm as AI impact on press freedom ahead of World Press Freedom Day. Next up, the Guardian Weekend. World Press Freedom Day 2025, navigating convergence between AI and journalism ethics. Hashtag World Press Freedom Day, hashtag WPFD, why are leaders afraid of press freedom? Amid royal accolades in Ile-Ife, Oyeweso's new book provokes thoughts, preserve heritage. Empty plate, bleak future, malnutrition destroys northern Nigeria, on page 8 to 10 of the Weekend Guardian. Nigeria records 3 Mpox-related deaths, 136 confirmed cases, with rider NCDC deploys National Rapid Response Team to hotspot states. Melekeari, 13 other NNPC former 7 officials on the investigation, EFCC confirms. Afenifere cautions against ethnic tags rhetoric on Tinubu's administration. Over to the Nation. Saturday Nation, above the mast, fresh trouble for PDP as defection fever hits BOT. Senator Effiong Bob, others conclude plans to join APC. Akwa Ibom governor, predecessor, may follow suit. Counters out of your coalition, LP NEC tells Atiku and El Rufai sets up panel to probe OT others over anti-party activities. Boldly written in front of the Nation, Tinubu, Nigeria will not bow to fear and terror. President joins armed forces on frontline in Katsina, says local foreign saboteurs will be defeated, and reiterates support for troops' welfare and logistics. Court sentences BRT driver to death for rape and murder of female passenger. Natasha activists clash over Akpabio's sexual harassment claims. On IPOB, Simon Ekpa will soon be returned for trial, court tells us. No weapons found with Kanu during 2015 arrest. And finally, on Saturday Nation, Meta threatens to cut off Facebook in Nigeria over fines. Next up, Weekend Trust. Prince Adeyemi Aderibigbe meet the luckiest man in the world. FBI, DEA to release Tinubu report schedule in 90 days. Is Nigeria drifting to one-party state? How Plateau conflict costs headers over 300 million naira in 2 months, with rider 155 cows killed and 206 rustled. Finally, on the Weekend Trust, Security operatives seal Galadima's residence, Sanusi Bayero Turban appointees, and Meta threatens the court of Facebook in Nigeria over fines on pages 26 and 25 respectively. Then the Saturday Times. Sheyi Tinubu denies ever meeting Nan's president. Atiku Isa denounces assaults and allegations as fictional. Still on the foreign scene, Davido celebrates Shoma's 30th birthday lavishly. Tinubu boasts troops. I'll take that again. Tinubu boosts troops' morale in Katsina, pledges full military support on page 10. Drop your 2027 presidential ambition, Baba Ahmed tells Atiku. And Obi reps Simon Benue Zamfara governors, assembly leaders over anarchy in states. And finally, on Saturday Times, Rivers women stage protests, walks out on Iba's wife. Over to the Saturday Punch. Atiku slams Tinubu as president's son battles torture allegations. Akpabio, Natasha, US-based activist in war of words over leaked audio. $3 billion refinery fraud, 80 billion naira found in sacked MD's bank accounts. With riders Port Harcourt, Warri, Kaduna refineries, MDs arrested. Kiari 13 senior ex-NNPCL officials face probe. I was stopped from saving ex-customs officer who died during wife's birthday, coming from medical doctor. Beaten to death, sad tales of parental corrections that ended in tragedy. On insecurity, Nigeria will not bow to domestic and foreign pressure, coming from Tinubu. And on the foreign scene, I'm ready for new beginnings, coming from Annie Makoli. Finally, Bamise. Bamise family makes fresh demand after court orders BRT's driver's execution. Well, that's the much you can take on our newspaper headlines. And over to our review for the day. And Christy Oracle MADUKA, as usual, is in the studio, bright and clear-eyed to give us his perspectives on today's review. Good morning, Chris. What will you do without Chigi, right?
Well, nothing. Chigi is as stuck like he's come to say. Nobody can do with Chigi. So
good morning, Chris.
Welcome to today's new day newspaper review. It's bright and early.
Absolutely.
New day. Thanks to Almighty God.
Indeed.
Yeah. So we start from the last.
I suspected as much.
80 billion.
80 billion.
Sacked MD's bank account.
80 billion naira.
80 billion.
Let that sink in.
No, yeah, that's why we're taking it easy. We have to breathe in.
This is preposterous.
Now, let me tell you what is happening, because when I speak 80 billion in an MD's account, it's not MD's money. It's money of corrupt politicians. They've stocked away where it's safe. These are all money launderers. All the bank managers. And more of this kind of money is stocked away in MD, because you cannot probe MD's account in a bank where he's a managing director.
Interesting.
That's the first option. The second option is that he must be also a very great stakeholder in corruption in Nigeria. So if there's Abateke, steal and bring it in, I'll preserve it and we share. What's my share?
What's my percentage?
Yes. We have had stories in Nigeria where such people have become the stooges they used to store away when they don't want to take it. It's now becoming so unsafe to take it out outside Nigeria, being the limelight. And some of them go to those days we hear of Swiss banks. And not even their family members have their bank account. They die with it. And Swiss is squeezing away with money from corrupt nations and their leaders. And we are here suffering and smiling. But this tells us a country where one person, individual, nothing, it's just because he find a way to become empty, holds 80 billion in his account.
In one account.
Tell me what this man cannot buy in this country, where they weaponize poverty. Tell me, and there are billions of them that hold this kind of money.
Because the other refineries
tomorrow,
have already been arrested.
Tomorrow you come and tell him, I'm going to take it to court. The man will tell you, he offer you a bribe, you will never refuse, Chris, or you refuse it and die.
We are tired of these kinds of news. What eventually happens at the end of the day? Do they eventually get prosecuted?
That is where my job stops here, to review newspaper headlines.
So we keep getting this and no follow-up.
And it's going to continue. $3 billion refinery fraud in one person's account. He's just the keeper, the curator. And I've told you how many years Nigeria has done turnaround maintenance in refinery.
And pay staff.
$897 billion on Warri refinery alone. And they flopped again. And we hear, you're telling me, what do we do? Nigeria. We put that kind of money. Ask Dangote how much he used to build his own refinery. That is working now, that they are not allowing to function. Everybody has gathered around like ants that are gathered around sugar to disturb the man. In the same vein, the Nigerian government, environment, gave him money to make as much as he makes, monopolize. Because somebody has said, even in his businesses, some of the Nigerian politicians are investing. They see viable business, they invest. But they would, that's why the confusion is here,
It's so heartbreaking.
And then it's what other things that you ask me, it's also a good thing that we have started seeing this, so that we know that ENMI, CINAC, whatever is happening to us, we cause it. That we go to market to buy a paint of beans, 8,000 naira, in some places 12,000, some places 15,000. We cost it. And we are talking about our leaders. Somebody is in charge of this nation. Somebody is in charge of the security. Somebody is in charge of EFCC. They don't see this. They don't. Every day you hear they round up some young Nigerians, accuse them of 419 and fraud. What better fraud is this? This world, the God will hunt all the corrupt people in Nigeria, because we leave the substance and pursue the shadow. Soft spots, easy, low-hanging fruit. Young Nigerians harmless. There's some greedy African people outside the world are dropping money for them. That's where you cannot allow a young Nigerian pass the road. I was in a public vehicle. The way Nigerian police hurt young people when you enter vehicle with them, would you tie them if they wear dreadlocks? So you can imagine, are these our problems? They leave this. You ask me, this is a report. You won't hear anything again. ICPC, EFCC, all the fraud anti-fraud agencies, they will keep quiet. Against the line until this 80 billion everybody will look for you. Now turn by turn, get your own turn, get your own share until it dissolves into thin air. We are watching. You will see. Jabi asked me.
I would like you to talk about, there was this video making the rounds on social media about the ex-customs officer who slumped during the wife's birthday. Now, a medical doctor has come out to say that he was stopped from saving ex-customs officer who died during wife's birthday.
I'll call you back.
So this, should we be looking at murder?
It's not murder.
Why was
it's about the health issue.
But why was he stopped then from, saving the man's life? He said he was stopped from saving his life after he slumped.
Who stopped? Because he must know whether the person who is going to save life has the skills to do so. Because when somebody collapses in that situation, you must have the skill.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And then when some people are around here who know we are trying to do something, somebody will just come and claim, I could have saved this life. Where you would have done more damages. Do you understand? That is part of what we're saying.
Interesting.
That's about it. So let's move on, and then why Ajaokuta Steel has failed to take off 40 years later. That's Saturday Independence. You know what? If Nigeria has planned to fail with Ajaokuta, and if the care is not taken, 40 years after, everything in Ajaokuta must have gone moribund. You'll find this country will still want to invest billions of dollars in reacting.
6 billion naira budgeted as salaries to non-existing staff in 2025.
And they will continue. Some people are seeing any salaries 40 years after moribund Ajaokuta. Nothing is coming out of it. So people are there as staff, any salaries. Some people are there collecting money that to keep to whatever they are doing, they are round robin. And there's money. We create so many waste pipes. Because if you notice over time, out of several committees to revamp Ajaokuta, you notice this is a conduit pipe and it's not going to work. Why not abandon it? Dismantle it. Hand it over to PPP. Bring back the original companies that constructed it. Let them do whatever they can do with it. Or dismantle and sell some of it as scrap. We start from scratch again if Nigeria wants to build a steel company. But this country, we find National Assembly members going there on oversight functions every day. And they devote budget to do those so.
In billions.
To go and see a moribund, you know. So if you use this kind of money to carve your teeth, how much will you get when you smile? That's what I don't understand about Nigeria. Some of this money they call.
Is Nigeria drifting to
Korela,
one party state?
Okay, one party.
Yeah.
You cannot wait for us to get there.
I can't wait.
It's a question they ask. And they're looking for who we answer.
Is it a rhetorical question?
I don't whether it's you know Nigerians have a way of painting things.
And you see this bus.
It's a question.
And the driver is
and you see Nigeria all dressed up at the bus stop waiting to join one bus. You see that newspaper and the way the newspaper describes it, Weekend Trust.
Yes.
Beautiful bus, you know, looking cozy.
And look at the driver. Look at the driver.
And look at all the people jumping into it. They are so fat, well, you know, groomed. So it is, you know, government money for government's house, according to.
Are you seeing the umbrellas that are on the floor?
Everybody's. I don't know what you see on there are so many other things I see there. It's not only umbrella. So it's not from my mouth to hear that father wear trousers under the kaftan. They drop so many things here. So many things they've abandoned to enter because they don't want to travel with heavy.
Okay, they want to travel light.
They want to travel light into the moving bus. They don't want to stand with, you know, if your bus has spoiled, your umbrella has spoiled, your whatever, you know, all those things they put in their logo are spoiled. You dump it and travel light, join the one that is moving. Meanwhile, some of these ones that are jumping into these moving boys are going to become heavyweight for this bus to move. They see that their weight is so much that when they join this bus, it will soon collapse. And they will look for another bus to join. So good luck, Nigerian politicians. Start jumping buses. Anyone that is moving, jump into it with your fat, corrupt stomachs. When it gets crushed again, look for another one. But one day, there will be no bus to join. We all stay in your houses. And even keke, you won't see to join. You're looking for air-conditioned buses to join. And these air-conditioned buses had APC broadly written in front. And you are asking me, is Nigeria going to one party? Am I a politician? Now you guys will ask questions and answer it. But for what I can see, even as a non-politician, Nigeria is drifting towards one party. Quote me. Because they keep boasting more will join. And the newspaper today said more will join.
Yeah.
More will join. And since you dropped us to that Weekend Trust, FBI, DEA to release Tinubu report schedule in 90 days.
In 90 days. Well, finally.
And I said 90 days. Is it enough for Nigeria, for Tinubu to finish his tenure and go? No, I see that FBI and DEA, I said it yesterday, they are suspicious. They're using this to, when you want to talk, they just say, I will release. He said, no, don't release.
Okay, you think they're using it as a bargaining chip?
When they told you, is it not FBI? Which people that told us that our president of Federal Republic of Nigeria is an asset? It was in all the headlines all over the world, global, that we have a president who is an asset to FBI. So they are pulling him like strings. Hey, release report. Hey, don't release report. They also are suspect. And they, from what we have seen, they don't have any moral justification to lord it over us. Let them go to hell with their report. Because what has happened in the recent past is happening in the recent future. Nothing about the report will change anything.
True.
Is it not one thing that everybody is... What does it change? The time you require the report, you do not release, you hold it. When there is a little, light and you say you release the report, release it nowhere. You give us 90 days, as if it's 90 days. You want to borrow Nigeria, 6 months. 6 months status for deciding what our fate will be. Plateau conflict cost headers over 300 million naira in 2 months. 155 cows killed and 206 rustled. Bold headlines, weakened trust. Somebody want to make this report. You did not tell us how many human beings that died.
Put this side by side.
And then quantify the life of those human beings so that we'll be looking at 2 of them.
Yes.
They're all lost. Some of them are all lost. Ozuni. That's what the stick you used to carry millipede is always going with the millipede. Yes, because when you throw the millipede, you throw the stick, join it. If you are sure that 155 cows were killed in 2 months, how many human beings were killed in Plateau and Benin and Benue in 1 week? Put the life of those Nigerians, the Naira motivation, put it side by side so that we can understand. This report is not only stupid, insensitive, or wicked. The Benue and Plateau people have been crying the last 1 month of a number of people, and that's what we see here, a report. Nobody, they even vary in figures. That's what, in bold newspaper headline, Weekend Trust can only report this. So, oh, sorry, 300 million, oh, for cows, oh, 155, oh, sorry. That's what our attention should be. Nigeria don't know what to hit them. And it's now becoming very clear that no Nigerian is worth more than a cow. Of course, the value of a cow now, you go to the market, some of them are 1 million, over 1,700,000. So that is a clear fact of what we do. So don't bother. Nigeria will not bow to fear and terror, the nation. We also pray that we don't bow. But not the mouth that they take bow. When you see Ihe kante bakute ntenonu, what is bigger than the cricket? If you enter the cricket hole, cricket will bow. Not the mouth. So if the terror and fear that is more than Nigeria enter Nigeria with what we are seeing, Nigeria will bow. So if Nigeria does not want to bow, they begin now to look for the dark sheep or goat in the daytime, because soon it might get dark.
And there's been one too many death sentences by hanging this season. Is this about the BRT driver that raped and killed his passenger?
I don't even want to go there, because when I was thinking that the man by accident ran over a lady, it is a case of you got a vulnerable passenger, raped her, and because you are afraid the thing will leak, because you don't have power of National Assembly or the Senate to suspend her, you kill her. Then if you have given the one is one blow, Take one is because the life of what we are talking has gotten to that. Now the final thing before we go, I think our time is up. Malnutrition destroying northern Nigeria. Empty plates, bleak future. The sooner, the better. This is an obvious, and Guardian showed us a very clear picture. The vulture hanging on the signboard of northeast, northwest, and the woman with a child heavily malnourished, and even the one following, empty plate, and the woman is sweating and trudging on in a hard route to survival. This is a clear picture. It's not a cartoon. This is Nigeria represented. Thanks Guardian newspaper for representing this. Let the people who have concentrated and defecting into luxurious bus to 2027 see this. Because they will go in the bus, when they get to 2027, they find themselves alone. Of course, that's what they're all looking for. So they can join one bus and drive around Nigeria, not seeing people like us. So I wish them good luck. No. But then they remember that Dibia Gwolo Otolo,
True. Thank you so much.
So God bless Nigeria.
God bless Nigeria. God bless us all. All right, New Day continues right after this time out. Stay with us.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.